BBA 204, Principles of Management, Chapter 6. I am your instructor today, Professor Mina Doyran. Today we will be talking about the small business startups. In this chapter, we will discuss small business startups and entrepreneurship. We will ask the question, what is entrepreneurship? What does entrepreneurship specifically involve? Or what makes a person an entrepreneur? Simply said, entrepreneurship is the process of initiating a business venture, organizing the necessary resources, and assuming the associated risks and rewards. An entrepreneur has some unique characteristics because he or she can recognize a viable idea for a business product or service and carries out by finding and assembling the necessary resources, which are money, people, machinery, and location. So these three necessary resources, the money, people, machinery, and location, are needed to undertake the business venture. However, successful entrepreneurs have most often different motivations. Then, who are the entrepreneurs? So we will be looking at the 5 types of small business owners as summarized in this chart 6.1. So as you can see, there are different types of entrepreneurs. So the heroes of American business, such as Henry Ford, Steve Jobs, Sam Walton, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, and Mark Zuckerberg, are almost always entrepreneurs, right? But the image of entrepreneurs as bold pioneers is probably overly romantic or overemphasized. Most of the entrepreneurs can be characterized as hardworking and practical, with great familiarity with their market and industry. And such entrepreneurs can be classified into 5 categories. Let's start with the idealist. Who is an idealist? Idealist is somebody who likes the idea of working on something new, creative, and personally meaningful, right? Optimizers are the entrepreneurs who are rewarded by the personal satisfaction of being business owners. Sustainers, on the other hand, like the chance to balance work and personal life, and they don't want the business to grow too large. In a way, sustainers are somewhat conservative in the sense that they just want to sustain the business. They don't want the business to grow too large or to become too risky. On the other hand, hard workers are those who enjoy putting in the long hours and dedication to build a larger and more profitable business. Jugglers, on the other hand, they like the chance a small business gives them to handle everything themselves. Jugglers are like managers, right? They are like micromanagers. They like to micromanage every single detail or every single aspect of their business. As I said, an entrepreneur can have more than one characteristic, right? An entrepreneur is somebody who's an idealist, an optimizer, a hard worker, juggler, and sustainer at the same time. So think about these categories not as mutually exclusive characteristics. All entrepreneurs have most of these characteristics, and it is important that an entrepreneur has each of these characteristics to be a successful entrepreneur. Okay? This chapter also explains the importance of entrepreneurship to the global and the US economies. Globally, as you can imagine, entrepreneurship has experienced a tremendous boost due to huge advances in technology and the rapid expansion of the middle class in developing nations. So as the world economy becomes more and more globalized, with the open markets and free trade, there are more opportunities for the middle classes to become entrepreneurs in developing nations. In the United States, the impact of entrepreneurial companies is astonishing, right? Unfortunately, this impact has been interrupted by COVID-19. Now we're living in a post-COVID world, which is very different from the pre-COVID world. Pre-COVID world, there has been a strong acceleration or increase in entrepreneurship. Now, entrepreneurship has been, unfortunately, slowed down by the impact of COVID-19. Small businesses are important because they create 2 out of every 3 jobs. They represent 98% of all businesses in the United States. Small businesses also represent 90% of America's exporters and produce almost around 30.2% of all export value. After having defined entrepreneurship, we also need to define small business, because most entrepreneurs are small business owners. Okay? Don't forget, most entrepreneurs are small business owners. So, and there are a lot of reasons and the factors that explain this trend towards small business ownership. As the minority population of the United States has grown, so has the number of minority-owned businesses. So, in the United States, the number of minority-owned businesses accounts to a total of 5.8 million firms, according to the most recent data available. The types of businesses launched by minority entrepreneurs are also increasingly sophisticated. And who are these entrepreneurs? What are the basic demographic characteristics of entrepreneurs, right? So entrepreneurs are more likely to be the firstborn generation, right? They're immigrants who often start up their businesses. And the trend is that women are also embracing entrepreneurial opportunities in greater parts, especially in the developing world. However, most small businesses don't easily grow because they do not hire a lot of people. Okay? Minorities show a high rate of entrepreneurship. As younger people become entrepreneurs due to the economy and the opportunities offered, entrepreneurship will be increasingly diverse. It will be diverse in terms of gender, social class, racial, and ethnic backgrounds. And also another challenge faced by women is the stark imbalance of the sexes in high-tech fields and also in entrepreneurship. So it's really important to break down the data by looking at the demographic characteristics of entrepreneurship. You need to break down the data by gender, age, social class, ethnicity, race, immigration status, and so forth and so on. So here is the racial and ethnic composition of small business owners. As you can clearly see here in this chart, whites account for the majority of small business ownership in the United States, 83, more than 83%, followed by Hispanic and Black and Asians. So which tells us that the whites still control the resources necessary to start entrepreneurship or start small business. Okay. So, and the other things that we need to look at is the question of what are the personality traits of entrepreneurs. There are 7 personality traits associated with entrepreneurship, and these traits have special importance for our economy, right? These 7 important traits are autonomy, high energy, the need to achieve, and self-confidence. Autonomy is all about the independence, right? Every entrepreneur should be on their own feet, independent, right? They should be, and they are driven by the desire for autonomy, okay? Because they can cherish the freedom of making their own decisions about their business. Because of this desire, they most of the time consider flying solo, without partners or significant investors. This trait can significantly affect the firm's development. It is best for startups, however, to sacrifice autonomy and be managed by someone with a different set of managerial skills. That's how all successful entrepreneurs started. So if you look at Steve Jobs, okay, he had the autonomy. He was always driven by this desire to be autonomous, making their own independent decisions or their decisions independently. But they always needed a partner at one point, and they needed to be managed by someone with a different set of managerial skills, right? And then high energy. You look at the high energy trait, most entrepreneurs report struggle and hardship, but they persist and work incredibly hard. Therefore, they have high energy, right? High energy meaning that they have high levels of passion that help them overcome traumas and obstacles. Nearly half of small business owners work more than 40 hours per week. Entrepreneurs are also driven by the desire and the need to achieve, right? The need to achieve is a basic human quality linked to entrepreneurship. It means that people are motivated to excel and pick situation in which success is likely. Okay? So the people with high achievements needs like to set their own goals that are moderately difficult to achieve. All successful entrepreneurs, right, have this desire to achieve, to accomplish moderately difficult tasks, not easy tasks, but relatively or moderately difficult tasks. And then again, all entrepreneurs have self-confidence, right? They are the people who start and run a business and must act decisively, right? They must act decisively, and they need the self-confidence about their ability to master day-to-day tasks of their business. Don't forget, entrepreneurs have a general feeling of confidence that they can deal with any complex, unanticipated problems, right? As those problems may arise. So this is all about the ability to deal with complex, unanticipated problems or the contingencies as they arise. Okay? So other personality traits are the entrepreneurial struggle, right? The ability to persevere and stay positive after long periods of struggle, right? And then there is this tolerance for ambiguity. So the tolerance for ambiguity is really the psychological characteristic of every entrepreneur or every businessman, because it allows a person to be untroubled by disorder and uncertainty. Okay, so there are ambiguous situations that cannot be clearly defined by a rational explanation. Those ambiguous situations, you have disorder, uncertainty, difference, right? And there are some unorthodox situations. And the entrepreneur should have respect and a high tolerance level for ambiguous situations that cannot be clearly defined, right? This is important because few situations present more uncertainty than starting a new business. And then, of course, another personality characteristic is that entrepreneurs have the power and influence, right? They're driven by the desire for power and influence. Let's say when an entrepreneur is ahead of his competitors, he has the power to dictate the terms in that market. Power is all about, being ahead of competitors to increase the market share of the firm. Power brings influence, and the influence leads to the fact that the entrepreneur has the power to dictate the terms in that market. Okay? Here are the characteristics of entrepreneurs, briefly summarized in this chapter, in this chart, okay? So entrepreneurial personality has these characteristics that we just discussed in the previous slide. Okay? And there is another notion that has recently been discussed in the literature, the notion of social entrepreneurship, which is becoming a vital part of today's business. Okay? So who are the social entrepreneurs? These people are not simply entrepreneurs, but they are social entrepreneurs because they are committed to both good business and positive social change, right? They're not only interested in making money, but also they're interested in promoting social change. So what do these entrepreneurs do? They create new business models that meet critical human needs and solve important problems that remain unsolved by current economic and social institutions. So the social entrepreneurship, in a way, think about it as a kind of entrepreneurship that combines the creativity, business smarts, passion, and hard work of the traditional entrepreneur with a mission to change the world for the better, however you define the better, right? So this has become an important phenomenon. It has become a phenomenon that has blossomed over the past 20 years or so. So then who are these social entrepreneurs? Some people argue that Elon Musk is one of them, because through Tesla, SolarCity, SpaceX, Musk has become a pioneer of social entrepreneurship in the modern age, because he's trying to build accessible solutions to renewable energy and push the limits on space exploration for the mankind, right? In the past, many entrepreneurs just focus their activity on growing their private businesses, but in today's world, entrepreneurs are becoming to act like social entrepreneurs with a mission to promote positive change. Is Bill Gates a social entrepreneur? Is Bill Gates a social entrepreneur? He's the richest person in the world, but he initiates philanthropic activities through his charitable foundation, the Gates Foundation, right? He has the Gates Foundation. So that is why, because of his charitable activities and donations, and specifically because of this charitable foundation dedicated to the common cause or a public good, we can consider Bill Gates a social entrepreneur. Who are the other most successful social entrepreneurs, right? Bill Drayton, Shiza Shahid, Scott Harrison. Muhammad Yunus is a very well-known social entrepreneur from Bangladesh. He built this bank known as Grameen Bank. Grameen Bank for the poor, which is described as a community development bank and a microfinance institution that lent to poor people for a number of opportunities. They were giving loans at low interest rates, and they were giving loans for home ownership. They were giving loans for attending school. So it was described as a microfinance institution that is lending to people who cannot afford certain necessities in life, such as home ownership, education, and so forth and so on. Then the other issue to discuss is the steps necessary to launch an entrepreneurial startup. So this chart briefly summarizes the steps necessary to launch an entrepreneurial startup. Like, for instance, we start with an idea. We start with the idea, but for that idea to appeal to people, the skill and the market need must both be present. Okay? The skill and the market need are very important. Otherwise, there's no point starting with an idea. Okay? Some people are inspired to choose entrepreneurship by exciting ideas. Others decide to start their own business first and then go looking for an idea. Okay? The trick for the entrepreneurs is to blend their own skills and experience with a need in the marketplace. Okay? Past job experiences also influence an entrepreneur to come up with new business ideas. Skill and market need must both be present. Okay? Here are some of the sources of entrepreneurial motivation and the new business ideas. Here are the reasons for starting a business. You will see that the majority, in other words, 41% of people surveyed argued that, or the majority of the people surveyed argued that the key reason for starting a business was to join a family business. Okay? Followed by the need to control his or her future, the need to be my own boss, to fulfill a dream, or some people, they just started their own business because they were downsized or laid off and lost their job. Okay? Again, writing the business plan is very important because a business plan is a document specifying the business details prepared by an entrepreneur prior to opening a new business. So planning forces the entrepreneur to carefully think through the issues and problems associated with starting and developing the business. Small businesses with a carefully thought out, written business plan are much more likely to succeed than those without one. Okay? So it's very important before writing the business plan, it's very important to demonstrate a clear, compelling vision that creates an air of excitement. The excitement and the uniqueness and the excitement about your idea. It needs to provide a clear, realistic financial projections, right? It needs to profile potential customers and the target market, right? Include detailed information about the industry and competitors. Provide evidence of an effective entrepreneurial management team. Pay attention to good formatting and clear writing. Keep the plan short, no more than 50 pages, and highlight the critical risks that might threaten the business success. Spell out the sources and uses of startup funds and how you got the money and how you operated the funds. So you also need to capture the reader's interest with a clear summary and the mission and the vision statement. Okay? So far, thank you for listening to my lecture. So far, I have discussed some of the most important personality traits of entrepreneurs. In my next lecture, I will talk about how entrepreneurs choose a legal structure and the disadvantages and the advantages of each structure. Again, stay tuned for my next lecture. Thank you for listening to my lecture so far. Have a good day. Bye-bye.